when I was young, I had this conversation in my head floating. If I'm good enough. Am I good enough as a son? Am I good enough as a grandson? Am I good enough as a human being? One day, my friend in college brought me to this leadership seminar and I took it. And it opened my eyes to my blind spots. I started becoming present to what I had. So what I have are strong, deep memories of food with people I love. Having my team experience the same thing, I guess for me it's a constant recreating of moments back in time and then applying it to the cooking and into the dining experience now. This is my make or break. This is it.
Happening now, right? So our supplier, J. Vasco, is they're cutting the FISM board kasi gusto namin semento yung taas ng table. The griller came.
May ano po ba? May mga specific na materials para po panglinis?
Ano lang yun po, yung brush lang yun.
Brush lang?
Pwede ho bang isukat kung pasok dito?
Laki. Tingin ko lang, laki.
Lagpas? Oh no, yung wait. Medyo unexpected. Kasi it's nice, super nice. Pero ang laki than the usual sizing. My God, kinakabahan ako. Ang laki po ata. Pero let's see. Akala ko ba malakas kayo? Anyari? Okay lang. I mean, it happens. Good thing na pagplanuhan na namin to before. I think lang it helps to be very hands-on with the construction workers. Kasi at least alam nila firsthand kung ano ba talaga yung gusto mo. Kami ni Nicco yung project manager, owner also, and then the chefs. So it's nice kasi parang ito yung lulutuin natin. Ma-affect ba yung surrounding natin pag niluto natin to? Mangangamoy ba yung wood? Mangangamoy ba yung this one? So with this, na namin yung experience namin, how to build things. And what's also important, I think ito yung masasabi namin na home base namin.
I think Quenee is the best best person to tell the story.
No, I think 2014, so I went to Florida for my internship. And then, I went back home, pero not yet graduated. I was looking for work kasi parang I'm bored. I didn't wanna be idle. One of my best friends back then in high school said, hey, there's an opening in your local. And I said, okay. I was very happy kasi everyone's welcoming. Nicco was so quiet. Sobrang quiet.
Still quiet.
Still quiet up to now. Sobrang konti yung interaction between the team and him.
Quenee talks a lot. Pero which is nice, it balances us out, diba? Why are you doing this? Why are you adding that? Bagay ba sila? All these things. So parang the R&D process became a lot more annoying. I'm kidding. It became a lot more, it was less lonely. Una, it was R&D, and then later parang us slowly relying on her operational stuff, which freed up some time on my hands. So I was able to, during this time kasi my son was in Singapore, he was just born eh. I would be able to fly back to Singapore to see him. I have sort of left your local running unconsciously, parang hindi ko sinasadya na it was running pala on its own because Quenee was there. And then there was one day, I was in Singapore, and this writer messaged me and said, I'm here in your local food critic, and you're not here. And then I was like, shit, okay, screwed. And he said, but it's okay. Your team doesn't need you naman. So I'm like, what the right? He said, no, because your team is functioning so well already. So parang, I take it as a compliment that you've managed to let them excel on their own. So for the first time in my career of working for myself, I was very moved. Na parang, all of a sudden, I have a team working with me talaga and towards the same goal. Quenee was able to rally them, and mold them into a tight-knit group, to a family. You know, for the first time, I chose and I said that to myself that from now on, I will lead differently. So parang instead of leading from the front, I will push them from the back. Even though she was scared, she would break through it, diba? Kasi ako naman, parang, I would always parang, I'll test first. Parang, okay ba si Queenie? Talon. Diba? So, kung talon siya, talon din ako. We have been holding each other to account in terms of work, and eventually we became like family and really best friends na talaga. Her generosity of heart was what glued us, this team together.
Same goal. Na-notice ko din na he likes treating everyone na pantay-pantay. Hindi siya madamot to ask the ideas of others. And then he'll try to calibrate it, he'll try to fix it based dun sa mga comments ng team members and kung sino mang tumitikim.
I was born 1984. My mom was quite young back then. So I first grew up for a bit with my dad, and then eventually my grandmother took me in. Grade 3, grade 4, I started hanging out a lot more with my biological father. And then at around grade 6, I moved to my mom's place. And then during that time, I was just starting to get to know my mom in a different way, living with her. At that time, my mom hung out with a lot of chefs. For reasons I still don't know why and how that started. But back then, it was apparent to me when I observed them, how they all revolved around the island table in the kitchen. They would all taste the food, they would all talk about their days. And so, weekends was mostly that. At that time, nangangarap pa akong to have my parents back together, my biological father. And my mom, I was still, maybe if I cook, baka magbalikan sila, diba? And I was, grade 3 at this time. But all of these were just thoughts. I think what I was longing for back then was really role models and parang a set of people who would continuously just be there. Living with my dad and then my lola and then my mom. So parang I wasn't really sure when I was young what was happening. Was I good enough to stay with them? Why am I being passed around? All of these thoughts in my head, right? Am I good enough as a son? Am I good enough as a grandson? Am I good enough as a human being? So parang I was always longing for a home. One day, my friend in college brought me to this parang leadership seminar, and I took it. And it opened my eyes to my blind spots. I started becoming present to what I had in life. And then I realized that during all of these times and moments that I was with them, what brought us together was food. I guess what I have are strong, deep memories of food with people I love. It's funny, love. I'm now 40 years old and I still cook and I still eat these simplest things. And having my team experience the same thing. I guess for me, it's like constant recreating of moments back in time. I traveled to Singapore to visit my cousin one day. His name's Andre, he owns Yardstick now. And then when I went to Singapore, I immediately fell in love with the food. It really opened my eyes to so many new flavors. So nagsikap ako to get into culinary school. So eventually my stepdad was so generous enough to put me into culinary school. And yeah, I excelled, but then it still wasn't enough. So for the next 4 years, I traveled back and forth to Singapore to see my cousin and learn how to make these recipes. That's my first parang exposure to Malaysian food and Indonesian food and Indian Malay food and Singaporean food.
Boss, ikaw na yan. Sipag yan eh. Kasi sabi niya, pwede naman daw grouter. Sabi ko, siya na gumawa para tapos na.
When is the signage coming in?
It's finished na daw.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, that looks so good.
We're
Nice.
so excited.
Wow.
And then we changed the logo.
Ah, oh my God. He wants to change this.
No,
Oh,
no, no,
you're
no,
not
no.
good. You don't.
I'm kidding.
no,
I'm kidding. I'm not a lunatic. I'm excited because the kitchen's finally almost ready. I guess in terms of development, the team behind me, Jaime, Neesha, and Kevin, they've started the ferments. It will take us the closest to what we can get is 2 weeks for, I guess, our rice ferments. But everything else, like the vinegars and the lacto ferments, will take a while. So it's just
No,
a
no, no.
matter-
This is fine. This width is fine. It just feels like it's pushing me out.
Yes.
It's so firm eh. It's
No,
so
it
firm.
can't be that firm. It has to be softer. Because see, our concept for this was pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they can't do that because they need a shape foam, what we would have had to do is to keep the lower one this thickness and the upper one more narrow, so there's an angle. This is the third concept. Fourth concept I've done with Chef Nicco and Chef Queenie. We've actually designed a few concepts for them before. I really admired the fact that they wanted this to be an independent project. They wanted this to be their own thing. So I felt like it was very important to have a space that was reduced and just focused on the food on the table. And I think this was an opportunity for them to hone back to their roots and showcase what they're really great at, which is farm fresh ingredients, community kitchens, and their education in different Southeast Asian palettes and flavors and the way it's plated. So I said, why don't we just have like a restaurant for you guys that is just pared back and that is warm, that brings a community together, but is also kind of dark and recedes in the background, that really allowed them to honor the dishes on the table. So that was really the concept.
So we're now in the phase of completing, I guess, the furnitures, the dinnerwares, utensils, everything. Nandun na kami sa phase side after construction. So we really wanted a steak knife that can be parang personalized. For the weave, we like the idea of weaving kasi we like collaborating. So when you weave, di ba, parang you weave different cultures, different people, different personalities. So just like collaboration. So that's why yun yung design. And then we said, can you put our logo? Yeah.
It's hard to stay creative and very present when there's so many things happening in the restaurant side by side. So right now, my focus and the team's focus is to make sure that the finishing in the restaurant is, executed to what we think is at its best form. And then after that, we can be fully present and commit ourselves to the menu.
Stressful kasi parang ang tagal, the wait of yung waiting for construction to finish, the little details that we see every day. You just see small steps. It's frustrating. Kailan matatapos to? Like, ano ba yan? How hard it is to fix na pwede bang ngayon na natin i-fix and then tomorrow, iba na yung problem, di ba? And of course, paying all the suppliers. Ngayon, tinutotal ko na kagabi. I'm like, oh, wow, over budget tayo. Over budget. Pero shucks. Okay naman. We're still there. It's just that I have to make sure nandun pa kami sa budget or else we need to raise money.
I won't say it's easy. It's really hard. There's a reason why I'm doing this also in the first place because I freaking love this thing. It's hard, but I love it.
My ultimate role here is one, to make the food and also to handle all the operations. I like the feeling of making something with my hands and then trying it and then feeding it to others. I grew up in a family na very food-oriented. Father side, sobrang galing magluto ng food. And then mother side, they had a few restaurants when I was younger. They love hosting. My mom would always have guests sa bahay. Yung daddy ko din, very extrovert yung dad ko. Like, he likes bringing together everybody. I think doon ko nakuha yung pagiging hospitable, I would say. So, when I was growing up, yung mom ko, we would always wait for her. Lagi siyang may dalang pasalubong. I always remember that we will always eat kapag midnight. Pag uwi nila, maski tulog na kami, gigisingin pa kami para kumain. To be honest, yung before didn't mean anything as much to me. I think it really boiled down when my mom died. My mom died when I was 11 or 12. Kami na lang natira nung dad ko, and then my sister, brother, and then we became super close. Every Friday, Saturday, he would always make sure na lalabas kami together. Ang daming hardship because it was just me and my sister, and we needed to help my dad to do the tough part. I think after overcoming death talaga, parang everything's not so hard anymore. Then 4th year high school, didn't know what to do. Hindi ko talaga alam anong gagawin ko. And then all my friends chose the culinary internship during our 4th year high school in CSA. Sabi ko, oh, nandun lahat? Okay, sige. Since mahiling magluto yung families ko both, why don't I try this? Rather than enjoying the company of my friends there, sobrang na-focus ako sa cooking. I like getting my hands dirty. And I liked it. I enjoyed it so much. I like building things. And I said, I want to do this for a living. I think that's where it started. I like working with Nicco because I can be myself. Building a team is one. I like gathering them. Like, hey, if we're gonna eat, I would always say, come on, let's eat together. And I hate it when someone gets left behind. I don't want to be that person na ganunin. So I'm trying not to be like that to others. For me, parang sobrang dami ko pang pwedeng matutunan. Wala pa ako sa half. With all honesty, I'm lucky. I'm lucky na Nicco is willing to open his ideas to a lot of people.
I guess for me, what made me fall in love with cooking and the kitchen is that anyone can cook. If you truly just want to cook and help, if you have the genuine passion to feed and nourish people, you're always welcome to cook, in my kitchen at least. There was one particular night in your local that it was one of the lowest sales ever since we opened. And then I opened up the Facebook and it says, oh, what is this? Conde Nast. Parang best restaurants in the world's list. Like, let's check it out. In the United States, in Singapore, in Hong Kong. Parang let's go look at the Philippines. Sino yung nakapasok. In my mind, I'm just really curious, diba? And then I look at the Philippines and I said, holy shit. It was your local. It was the only restaurant there. I'm like, this is cool. I woke up the next morning and we were on the news. And then I had no idea what was happening. I had links and calls from my mom, from friends, text messages of congratulations. I'm like, what's happening? And then apparently Conde Nast was a big thing. But then what came with the recognition also was, sadly enough, haters. There were also people in the industry who wanted to write about us in a negative way. Like, why is your local even part of this list? Good thing that I wasn't really so focused on that. But that was our biggest break. I eventually found myself inspired by Peranakan food. I was telling Quenee, I think fusion for Peranakan people is so natural. It's not even forced. So why do we need to call it fusion? Diba? Why can, I was telling Quenee, why can Filipino food be like this? Here kasi, people get married and then the recipes that's come about from this marriage becomes, this type of new cuisine. So parang, I was saying, these things, or parang this context of mixed marriage food and the food that comes about from love is so inspiring. Parang, let's focus on this, sabi ko kay Quenee. and then let's open Hey Handsome with this new inspiration in
Yeah.
mind. I was so glued researching about it. Queenie was focused on building naman, the construction side.
Grabe,
Oh my
oo,
gosh.
sobrang.
Because she's Queenie, it doesn't stop her, right? So she learned from making mistakes, which is great because that's also how I did it, before We're Local. I did kiosks, made my mistakes, went bankrupt several times. And that's the only way to learn is to fail quickly and then get back from it, diba? Nothing will stop you. So that's Queenie.
Hey Handsome. That was a good run.
Most experimental.
Yeah,
I would
most
say.
experimental. Good and bad, I think. I think at that time, bad because people weren't really ready yet to eat that kind of food. Good because at least we know we can do these stuff, diba? But it closed, unfortunately, after 3 years because of rent. Parang we couldn't really renew our rent anymore. The money needs to be coming in also, or we need to be able to pay the staff well, or else wala rin, hindi rin magsusustain the restaurant.
So in the pandemic, it was, I would say, one of the most depressing moments of my life. When Hey Handsome closed, I was so depressed. So much so I wanted to stop cooking completely, but I have to make a living, right? I have a son to support who I truly love. And then my son, this is our bonding time in the pandemic. We would watch cooking shows. And then he said, Daddy, how come you're not in any of the shows? Because son, they have restaurants. Oh, okay. And they said, when COVID disappears, I want you to open a new restaurant so I can watch you on TV. Like, I want you to be the best. I want you to be the best chef in the world. And I'm like, fuck. So my heart sunk. Right? I mean, who wouldn't want that for anyone, for their kid? So, I told my wife and I told Queenie, when the time comes, I will make Tyler proud that he has a dad to look up to. And I wanted to be that, I guess, role model for him to not stop. Not stop believing in what they can do, no matter how hard it is. From then on, until this very day, I want to be the best version of myself for him. Not to be the best chef. I don't think there's such a thing, but I want to be the best person I can be. As a chef, as a father, as a leader, as a husband, as a partner for Tyler. When the economy opened again, Queenie and I decided that, as well as a bunch of our friends who are now our partners, that it's time for us to open a restaurant for ourselves. But after the pandemic, takot pa eh. I was scared. Number one, I was broke. But we were lucky enough and fortunate enough that the law firm contacted us for consultancy. His team got into a Zoom with us and then said that they needed chefs at the helm of their restaurant. So Queenie and I were like, okay, I think it's a good time to get our feet, wet again,
Yeah.
check out the market. So we did that for 2 years.
3 years.
And
That's
then
good.
this space came about. It was
Yeah.
introduced to us by Dan Matutina. I think it's time for us to open our own restaurant. So he was gracious enough and generous enough to let us open this restaurant. Celera, the word is inspired by my mentor in Kuala Lumpur. She taught me the value of taking care of my taste buds. Because during this time, when I was still young, I had vices, I'd smoke a lot, so my taste buds weren't as sharp. My nose was, but my taste buds not so much. And I loved layering flavors. She taught me that I had to quit all of these things and take care of my taste buds if I do want to layer flavors. For me, food is delicious when there's thoughtfulness, a little bit of extra touch. Like, kunwari, it would be my lola's scrambled eggs, diba? Pero he would say, I think si Nicco, he likes things creamy, so I'll add a bit of ricotta cheese. It's the intention is what makes it amazing, the thought behind it is for me what makes it fulfilling. Less more so the technique, it's what will separate a good meal to a memorable one. It's important that my team and I get to share that, or get to make sure that the guests know that there are reasons behind we cook a certain way. It's for them to get that extra touch that we put, because we are truly grateful that they are here in a restaurant. Our team is composed with different backgrounds. Some of them trained in Italy, some are French trained, some are Filipino focused. So the marriage is now coming from the team members, based on their history.
So this is one of our main courses. It's the beef cheek lasagna. Basically, it's a collaboration actually between me, Chef Nicco, Chef Kevin, and Chef Neesha. Actually, Chef Neesha and I, we did our internship in Italy a few months back, earlier in the year. And one of the main things we learned there was, of course, pasta, right? And I think this is one of the things that culminated our learnings from Italy. So it's a French dish, bourguignon, but we wanted to do something more Filipino, something more Asian. So we added blood to it, a blood bourguignon. So it's more almost like a dinuguan, almost like that. In the essence of lasagna, we have layers, right? So for this one, we have laksa pasta, and then inside we have a layer of beef cheek bourguignon, and then in the other layer, in the other pocket, we have a cream cheese bourguignon sauce.
For dessert, we have ice cream sandwich, which is made with pandan honey twill, soy caramel ice cream, and mangosteen gel. It is a collaboration between Chef Nicco, Chef Maray, and I. For the pandan honey twill, we chose pandan because it is a very comforting flavor. And for the soy caramel, we decided on this because we were inspired by Japanese soy flan. And for the mangosteen, we also added pine nuts, which explains the pine on the plating, because I am personally from Baguio, and Chef Nicco also grew up there for his summer vacations. For our ice cream sandwiches, we will be changing the flavors every month because Chef Nicco's mom really enjoyed having different flavors of them.
So now the focus is not so much a cuisine in particular, it's now basing it off our histories as cooks. What are they inspired by? But at the end of it, Celera is the gift of taste, so it just needs to make sense. So the first menu of Celera is all of us combined in a set menu format. So the starting dishes are an assorted of tartlets. Each tartlet is inspired by different histories from one person in the kitchen. And then to follow is a soup that has been my key to making the perfect chicken rice ever since 22 years ago that you will get afterwards. And then shortly after that, you will be greeted by noodles that's made from fish heads, inspired by one of my cook's love for crudo. And then so it's translated in form of noodles but with no starch. And then the set becomes even more interesting because you can get to pick from two sets. One is a little bit more Asian forward, one is a bit more Western and French, depending on which line of cooks are making it. So on the Asian side, it's obviously me and Quenee, and in the Western side, it's a different set of people. Last, you will be greeted with an ice cream sandwich, which was my comfort food in Singapore, the streets. Whenever I would find myself lost, I would just find the nearest uncle and buy an ice cream sandwich. And then a chocolate tart. So my job as a leader is to make sure that I'm able to tell their stories properly and make sure that our guests can feel it just by tasting it. Day one, right? Day one. I guess for me, what I realized this morning, this has been a long time coming. I never would have wished for a better team as to what to have. Because of your patience and understanding and trust, we are able to see through, finally. This wouldn't have been possible without each and every one. So parang I'm humbly grateful and incredibly fulfilled.
Ako, sobrang thankful ako sa team.
Have a good service.
Yes!
Before I graduated culinary school, I interned in a restaurant, fine dining restaurant, French. I was exposed to the harsh reality of what a restaurant is. It's banging of plates, it's cursing, it's making you screw up, diba? It's all of these things. And I realized parang maybe this is not for me. If this is what it takes to lead a successful fine dining French restaurant, then maybe I'm not cut out for this thing. I never believed in harsh leadership. In the back of my head, I always thought, is my style even good or does it work? One time, I came across Danny Meyer's book, Standing at the Table, and his style was basically constant, gentle pressure. It struck me because this is always how I believe I should be leading, and then it's something that it's easier to translate to the team. This constant and gentle nudge that I give my teammates is always a better way to get things done and to achieve their personal games. May it be in their personal lives or in their careers, may it be in their relationships or in a dish they're trying to create. And it's also something that I do to myself. And then I feel that I also reciprocate better that way. Celera is my love letter to my mentor in Kuala Lumpur, who told me that the most important thing as a cook that you will ever have is your gift of taste. And I want to do that by launching the first Celera menu as an ode to her by highlighting my marriage for food to the marriages and histories of my staff. With the right listening and the right space and the right time, I can come up with a menu fulfilling enough that's made from everyone in the team.